The producer of both shows, David Jacobs, wanted Not Landing to be the first, but CBS said, "No, we want something more glamorous, much flashier, more sudsy," so Dallas was created. Did you once admire Joan Van Ark, but would you even recognize her today? She was the embodiment of elegance and charm, captivating millions with her portrayal of Valin Ying in Not Landing, a show that ran for an incredible 14 seasons, solidifying her status as a television legend. You might need a moment to confirm that it is indeed her. The glowing face that once adorned the screen has nearly disappeared, and the delicate features of her youth have changed so drastically that many people are left speechless. What happened? Why has Joan Van Ark, one of the most adored actresses of her era, become the focus of rumors and conjecture? Is it time, the effects of cosmetic surgery, or is there a tale that hasn't been told yet that takes us from the glittering heights of fame to the obscure corners of her life? Joan Van Ark was born on June 16, 1943, in New York, to writers for parents. Her grandfather was Dutch, but Joan's early years were very different from the busy energy of a big city. When she was still a young girl, her family moved to Boulder, Colorado, a quiet, peaceful town where life moved at a slower pace. This is the most complete and shocking story of Joan Van Ark before it was revealed. Let's discover the truth behind her incredible transformation together. Joan, who grew up with 3 siblings and was far from the glitz and glamour of the entertainment industry, had a typical childhood like many others. She loved sports, especially running, and few people know that even after she became a well-known actress, she continued to pursue this hobby and even ran several marathons. However, fate had other plans for Joan, and in 1958, at the age of 15, she was given an opportunity that would forever alter her life. While in high school, Joan joined the school's journalism club and was given the opportunity to interview Julie Harris, the iconic actress who won 5 Tony Awards when she traveled to Denver for a theater production. At first, the interview was just a routine one. Joan prepared a list of questions, met with Harris, and began the conversation. But what she didn't anticipate was that Harris noticed a hidden talent or innate passion in her that Joan hadn't even recognized. As the conversation was coming to an end, Julie Harris asked her if she had ever considered pursuing a career in actress. The question surprised Joan because she had never given it much thought. But Harris didn't stop there. She urged Joan to apply to the Yale School of Drama, one of the most prestigious acting programs in the United States. This was practically impossible, because Yale usually only accepted college graduates, not high school students who were 15 years old. But Julie Harris thought Joan had something unique, so Joan took a chance and applied to Yale, knowing that her chances were almost non-existent. But then something unexpected happened. Joan was awarded a full scholarship, making her the second youngest student in Yale's history. The only person younger than her was Julie Harris, the same woman who had given her this chance when she was a high school student in Boulder, Colorado. Joan found herself in a completely different world at Yale, where some of the most promising acting talents lived, and she had to work twice as hard to prove herself as the youngest in her class. After graduating from Yale's School of Drama, Joan Van Ark began her acting career with a strong foundation in theater. She joined the Guthrie Theater, one of the most prestigious stage companies in the United States, where she had the opportunity to explore a career she had never dared to dream of. Her true love for acting years later, even after achieving fame and success. Joan would always talk about Julie Harris as the person who changed her life. Their fateful meeting at 15 had set her on a path she had never imagined, opening the door to a career she had never dared to dream of. The Mere by Molière, a classic of French theater, was one of Joan's early EST roles. Before long, she took her talents even further and made her way to Broadway, where she started to draw the attention of industry professionals. Her first notable role was in the beloved romantic comedy Barefoot in the Park. But her real breakthrough came when she starred in The School for Wives. This performance not only demonstrated her acting prowess, but also earned her. Although Joan's stage career was on the rise, she realized that television was the key to reaching a wider audience. Determined to explore new opportunities, Joan decided to transition to the small screen, taking on guest roles in several well-known television series. Joan quickly made an impression, with appearances in popular shows like, despite playing supporting roles in Gunsmoke Kojak, The Rockford Files, and The $6 Million Man, she showed incredible versatility and won praise from both critics and filmmakers. One of her most noteworthy guest appearances was in the classic wartime television series M, where she played Nurse Erica Johnson, who had a brief but intense romance with Dr. Hawkeye Pierce. However, their romance ended when her character was reassigned to Japan, leaving Hawkeye devastated. This episode became one of the most poignant moments in. Despite securing a solid place in the television industry, Joan had yet to land the pivotal role of her career. However, in 1978, she was offered a role in Dallas, a new CBS drama. What many people don't know is that Joan initially hesitated to accept the part of Valine Ying because she had established a stable television career with many notable guest appearances and wasn't sure if Dallas would turn out to be a long-term opportunity. Earning Joan even greater recognition from audiences, Marshall persuaded Joan to accept the role of Valine Ying, the wife of Gary Ying, a member of the powerful Ying family. After reading the script, Marshall told Joan, "You absolutely have to take this role. This is an incredible character." Joan trusted his instinct and accepted the role. Originally, Valine was only supposed to appear in a few episodes as a woman shunned by her husband's wealthy and powerful family. But Joan's performance struck a deep chord with viewers. This role not only allowed Joan to showcase her talent, but also propelled her career to new heights. There were many fascinating behind-the-scenes stories about Joan's casting as Valine Ying. Initially, CBS had considered other actresses for the role, but Joan left an unforgettable impression during her very first audition. She embodied Vine's strength and heartbreak so perfectly that the producers couldn't imagine anyone else playing the part. Interestingly, Valine was originally slated to play a supporting role in Dallas, but CBS realized her enormous potential due to overwhelming audience demand. This realization led to a significant turning point, the creation of Knots Landing. Notably, Jacobs, the producer, had already pitched the idea for the show before Dallas debuted. Jacobs wanted to make a series about middle-class families and their daily struggles, but CBS at the time felt that viewers were more interested in stories about the wealthy. When it became a television phenomenon, CBS re-examined Jacobs' original concept and decided to develop Knots Landing as a spin-off. Joan Van Ark was offered a role in Knots Landing, and she didn't hesitate to accept. This was the ideal opportunity to fully develop the character of Verlaine. Joan once shared that the moment she entered the costume fitting room and put on Van's pink waitress uniform, after Verlaine Ying's unexpected success in Dallas, CBS quickly realized that the character had enormous potential for further development. Because of the overwhelmingly positive response from audiences, especially the deep empathy for Verlaine's story, producer David Jacobs decided to expand the Dallas universe with a new series, creating Knots Landing, which debuted in 1979 and put Verlaine and Gary Ying at the center of one of the most successful and longest-running television dramas in history. She knew she was this character immediately, because it focused on middle-class family and marital struggles rather than the high-stakes power struggles of the elite. American history wasn't initially expected to achieve the same level of fame as Dallas. However, surprisingly, it was precisely this relatability and realism that helped the show attract a devoted following as the seasons progressed. The ratings steadily climbed, and by the early 1980s, Knots Landing had officially become one of CBS's biggest hits. The legendary trio of Joan Van Ark, Verlaine Ewing, Ted Shackelford, Gary Ying, and Michelle Lee Karen McKenzie were the show's success. Their dynamic fueled dramatic storylines, emotional conflicts, and captivating twists that kept audiences interested for 14 seasons. Joan Van Ark appeared in 3,177 episodes, a record-breaking number that made Verlaine Ying one of the most iconic characters in American television. And heartbreaking moments, Verlaine was more than just a betrayed wife. She was a woman who battled valiantly to reclaim her life. One of the series' most shocking storylines involved Verlaine giving birth to twins, only to have them abducted by a corrupt doctor right after delivery, driving her to the verge of madness. Joan Van Ark's terrifying portrayal of a grieving mother in these scenes left a lasting impression on both viewers and critics. In addition, the contentious love triangle between Verlaine Gary and Abby Cunningham by Donna Mills became one of Knots Landing's biggest and most dramatic storylines. Abby's cunning and ambition stole Gary from Verlaine, sending Joan's character into a spiral of heartbreak and emotional turmoil that lasted for several seasons. However, rather than being portrayed as a helpless victim, Verlaine fought back, determined to reclaim her happiness. Her resilience made her an inspiration to many female viewers at the time. But many are unaware that Joan Van Ark contributed to Joan's choice to cast Julie Harris as Lilam Clemens Vine's mother, not only as a lead actress, but also behind the scenes, was crucial in establishing her career. At first, Lilam was meant to be a minor guest character, but thanks to Harris's outstanding performance and the intricate mother-daughter relationship between Lil and Valine, the role evolved into an essential part of Knots Landing. Joan Van Ark's commitment to the role of Valine was acknowledged not only by the show's loyal viewers, but also by prestigious industry accolades. She received 6 nominations at the Soap Opera Digest Awards, winning twice in 1986 and 1989 for Best Lead Actress. Critics also praised Joan's acting, particularly in the emotionally charged episodes centered around Valen's family tragedies. Joan Van Ark once said that she was shocked to hear that Magic Johnson never missed an episode at an event. She was even more shocked when basketball legend Kareem Abdul-Jabbar approached her, eager to discuss the latest twists in Knots Landing. This was evidence that the show had transcended its status as a television drama and become a part of pop culture. Television phenomenon had such a huge cultural impact that even famous athletes became devoted fans. The production team couldn't wait for the next episode and pleaded with her to tell Vane what would happen when she traveled to New York to record a commercial for Estee Lauder. This showed how deeply viewers were invested in the show, as one of the most amazing behind-the-scenes stories focused on the infamous twin kidnapping storyline, one of the show's most dramatic plot climaxes. Originally, the writers had intended for Abby Cunningham Donna Mills to be the mastermind behind the abduction, but Donna Mills firmly. In a 2022 interview, she argued that viewers would never forgive her character if she committed such an unforgivable act. Ultimately, the script was changed, and the kidnapping episode became the highest rated in Knots Landing history. This not only kept viewers interested, but also cemented Valen's crucial role in the series. Looking back, Knots Landing was not just a successful television series. It was the platform that cemented Joan Van Ark's status as one of the best television actresses of her generation. Despite her enormous success with Knots Landing, Joan Van Ark made the shocking decision to leave the show in 1992. Fans were shocked to learn that Joan had been with the show for 13 extremely successful seasons, making her one of the most recognizable faces on American television. However, like many actors involved in long-running series, Joan had started to experience exhaustion and creative stagnation after more than a decade of living with Valine Ying. After 10 years of being Valine Ying, she decided it was time to leave her comfort zone and seek new challenges. Her husband, John Marshall, a seasoned journalist for KMBC, played a significant role in her decision. After years of working in the news industry, Marshall decided to leave his long-established career to pursue new opportunities, which inspired Joan to do the same and leave the security of Knots Landing. However, her departure was primarily motivated by her growing discontent with Ven's character. Over time, Joan felt that her role was losing its dramatic appeal and depth. She had repeatedly asked the writers to add more intensity to Ven's plot, but when those changes never happened, Joan started to seriously consider leaving the show. At the same time, rumors circulated that CBS was considering canceling Knots Landing due to declining ratings after more than 10 years on air. When Joan received an offer to join the sitcom Spin Doctors, she decided to leave Knots Landing to pursue this new endeavor. Was friendly, had no problems with the producers or the cast, and always thought of the Knots Landing crew as a real family. However, the move proved to be a huge mistake, because Spin Doctors was a failure from the start and never even made it to air. In the meantime, Knots Landing went on for 2 more seasons without Valine, but Joan's absence left a noticeable gap in the plot of the show. In order to fill the role of Valine Ying, CBS chose to recast the role, casting actress Sally Sussman Marina as Joan Van Ark's replacement, but this proved to be yet another mistake. Although Sussman Marina was a seasoned television writer and producer, she was not a well-known actress, and her portrayal of Valine was widely criticized for lacking depth and failing to capture the essence of the character. The change was met with strong fan backlash, and Valine gradually lost the charm and significance she once had as ratings continued to decline. CBS officially ended Knots Landing in 1993, just 1 year after Joan's departure. That Joan Van Ark was genuinely indispensable in the series. Years later, CBS recognized this fact and asked Joan to return to the role of heroine in the 1997 miniseries Knots Landing: Back to the Cul-de-sac. This move confirmed that only Joan could truly embody the character. In a 2022 interview on the podcast Behind the Velvet Rope, Joan Van Ark acknowledged that leaving Knots Landing was one of her biggest career mistakes, admitting that she should have stayed with the series until its conclusion. Rather than seeking a new direction too soon, Joan Van Ark's decision to leave Knots Landing left a significant void in both her personal and professional lives. What do you think about her decision to leave Knots Landing? Was it a major mistake, or just the bold choice of an artist seeking new challenges? Regardless of the outcome, nothing can deny that Joan dedicated more than 10 years of her life to bringing Valine Ying to life. So let's respect her decision and share your thoughts below. As of 2025, more than 30 years have passed since Knots Landing concluded, but its legacy is still as strong as ever. It stands as a television landmark, proof of its enduring ability to captivate audiences across generations. In a recent interview, Michelle Lee explained that, in contrast to shows that only focused on the ultra-rich and power struggles, the show's realism was the key to its lasting impact. Joan Van Ark confirmed that viewers are still watching Knots Landing on Plex as if reliving every moment of the series all over again, proving that the show was never just a popular show of its time, but left a lasting impression that transcends generations. The show has not faded into obsolescence, despite friendships, broken marriages, betrayal, and the struggles to regain happiness after more than 3 decades. In fact, the cast humorously joked that viewers could beyond its iconic on-screen moments. Knots Landing also created genuine, long-lasting friendships among its cast. Joan Van Ark, Donna Mills, and Michelle Lee were not just co-workers. They became a family, a bond that has endured for decades. Even after the show ended, they continue to stay in touch, meet up, and attend events together as if their years on set never truly ended. Literally watch them age throughout the series, making it feel even more authentic, like a chronicle of real-life ups and downs. Landing was more than just a television show. It was a legacy and an unforgettable part of American television history. Joan Van Ark was not only a successful actress, but also a loving wife and mother who put her family first for decades. Her husband, John Marshall, was her high school sweetheart from Colorado. The two met as teenagers, and their love lasted into adulthood. After graduation, John Marshall joined the military and worked as a broadcast journalist, reporting from far-off war zones despite the difficulties of a long-distance relationship. Jan remained devoted to one another and ultimately made the decision to get married. Their wedding took place in Germany while John was still serving in the military, marking the start of their lifelong journey together. Following his military service, John Marshall became one of the most well-known television journalists at KBC-TV, where he worked for 20 years, delivering insightful and powerful news reports. His career was just as distinguished as Jones's, earning him both an Emmy Award and a Golden Mike Award, two of the most prestigious honors in broadcast journalism. But in 1992, the same year Joan left Knots Landing, John experienced a significant upheaval in his own career. He was abruptly fired from KBC-TV during a contentious round of staff cuts, which took many by surprise. Although he soon found a new job at a rival station, he resigned after just one day, opting to leave the television industry completely in search of new opportunities outside of journalism. The fact that both Joan and Jan left their long-standing careers in 1992 marked as the daughter of two successful parents, Vanessa Marshall was unavoidably influenced by the entertainment and media industries growing up. However, rather than following in her mother's footsteps as an on-screen actress, Vanessa Marshall forged her own path and became one of Hollywood's top voice actors. This was a significant turning point for their family because, despite the fluctuations in their professional lives, Joan and John always put their family first. Also highly educated, Vanessa received her bachelor's degree from Princeton University, one of the most prominent universities in the U.S., before going on to NYU, New York University, for her master's degree in acting. With a solid academic and artistic background, Vanessa made a name for herself in the entertainment industry quickly, but in a very different way than her mother. She became the voice of hundreds of iconic characters on screen, with over 200 voice roles. Actors of her generation, she is well known for providing the voices of some of the most cherished characters, such as Hera Sayala in Star Wars Rebels, one of the most important female characters in the Star Wars universe, Wonder Woman in the Harley Quinn animated series, portraying a powerful and unique version of Diana Gamora in Guardians of the Galaxy, bringing to life one of Marvel's major characters. In addition to her success as a voice actor, Vanessa had the chance to perform alongside her mother in 1997, Joan Van Ark and Vanessa Marshall. While they followed different paths, Joan and Vanessa share an unwavering passion for the arts. If Joan Van Ark was once one of the defining icons of American television, then Vanessa Marshall has become one of the most powerful voices of her generation, while Jo captivated audiences with her performance in the play Stardust at the Tiffany Theater. This was not only a significant artistic milestone, but also a deeply meaningful family moment, symbolizing a second generation carrying on the artistic legacy of a legendary mother. After leaving Knots Landing, after more than 10 years in the spotlight, Joan Van Ark not only had to deal with career transitions, but also found herself at the center of another media controversy. Vanessa's on-screen presence left her mark with her unique voice, shaping characters that have become unforgettable in pop culture. In this way, Joan Van Ark's legacy continues not only through the timeless episodes of Knots Landing, but also through the voice of her daughter, who carries the artistry forward to millions of fans worldwide. Storm this time around her appearance. Although she was once regarded as one of television's most beautiful actresses in her younger years, in later years she became the focus of public scrutiny due to her drastically altered looks. Joan Van Ark left behind more than just a brilliant career on screen. She cemented her place as an enduring icon of American television through talent and perseverance. She captivated audiences for decades, becoming one of the rare actresses who managed to maintain long-term influence in an field that has frequently been insensitive to women. Her legacy goes beyond not landing one of the most popular television spin-offs ever. She also continues to advocate for more rights and opportunities for women in the industry by establishing the Julie Harris Scholarship Fund, which honors the memory of her mentor and gives aspiring actors at the Yale School of Drama the opportunity to follow their dreams. Despite the passage of time, Joan Van Ark is still a legendary figure in entertainment and an actress who never stops. Joan Van Ark, who is now 82, has never truly left the entertainment industry, despite the obstacles she has faced. Although she no longer pursues the limelight, she continues to make a significant and quiet contribution to the industry, even though she no longer plays prominent television roles. In 2012, Joan made a surprise appearance in the Dallas reboot, which delighted longtime fans who had been waiting for years to see Vilain Ying again. Although it was merely a guest appearance, Joan's presence carried great significance, paying homage to the character that shaped her career. Beyond television, Joan made an incredible comeback to the theater, the very location where her journey started in 2016. She played the difficult role of Lady Macbeth during Brit Week, showcasing her depth and commanding presence. Prior to that, she starred in A Lovely Sunday for Crave Sare, marking a new chapter in her artistic career. As evidence of her unwavering love for acting, Joan has also dabbled in voice acting, a profession that requires equal skill to on-camera work. In 2019, she provided her voice to the television series Doom Patrol, and in 2021, viewers heard her well-known voice again in Curious George. These endeavors demonstrate that, even as the years go by, Joan is always open to new opportunities and always looks for innovative and creative ways to engage with audiences. Outside of her artistic endeavors, Joan keeps close friendships with her former Knots Landing co-stars with Michelle Lee and Donna Mills. She regularly takes part in cast reunions, reminiscing about the show and re-establishing contact with the loyal fans who have followed them for decades. In 2024, the trio reunited at the Hollywood show in Burbank, California, garnering a lot of public attention. However, their reunions are more than just nostalgic get-togethers. They are actively working on a podcast about the show's lasting legacy. Makes public appearances. June continues to pay tribute to and remember her former coworkers. In July 2024, she publicly expressed her grief over the death of Doug Sheen, who portrayed her on-screen husband in Knots Landing. She said, "My heart and Ven's heart are both broken today." Joan Van Ark is no longer the star of a long-running television drama, but she is still a true artist. She has never pursued fame or attempted to maintain the limelight. Whether it is shown on screen or not, Joan Van Ark will always be Valine Ying, a beloved figure in her fans' hearts and an unforgettable television icon. She was once one of the biggest stars on television, rising from the iconic Knots Landing to becoming controversial because of her changing appearance. But she is still a legend and one of the important people who helped define the prime-time soap opera genre. Knots Landing was more than just a television series. It was a cultural phenomenon and a treasured aspect of. Did you watch Knots Landing? Valine Ying's dramatic storylines are among your favorites. If you want to relive those legendary moments, Knots Landing is now available for streaming on Plex. Share your thoughts on Joan Van Ark and your memories of the show. And don't forget to subscribe to our channel to continue finding fascinating stories about the beloved Hollywood icons. We'll see you in the upcoming video.